Welcome to another episode of the Make Mental Health Matter show. I am your host, Kelli Melissa Reinhardt, and I'm excited. So, the last couple of episodes, the last couple of weeks, it's just been me. Maybe you're getting sick of just hearing me. I don't know. Hopefully not, because hopefully that's why you tune into the show. But I'm excited. I actually have a guest this week, which is super exciting. For years and years and years, I've had guests, and then there's been times that I've done solo shows, and of course, those are fun, but it's usually super random thoughts from me. So it's fun to have a guest back on to be able to share the stage. And there are things in life that happen in just in general in our lives, right? And we oftentimes, especially as coaches, create something that ultimately helps us, or we've seen a need in our communities to be able to help others. And that is a lot around my guest today. So without like going in circles like I normally do at the beginning of the show, I'm going to tell you a little bit about my guest for today. So Belle-Lyssa Crawford is a mental fitness coach and mental strategist who helps people break free from overthinking, anxiety, and emotional burnout using neuroscience-based tools. She is the creator of the IntentionAbility Method and the 30-day Rewire Your Brain Program, which focuses on nervous system regulation, habit rewiring, and mental resilience. Belle-Lyssa works primarily with professionals and high achievers who appear successful outwardly but struggle internally. She is known for translating complex brain science into practical strategies people can use in everyday life. She also serves on the board of directors for the U.S. Veterans Hall of Fame, supporting initiatives to prevent suicide and homelessness among veterans. Her work centers on helping people feel safe, steady, and clear in their own mind again. So, without further ado, thank you so much for joining me.
Absolutely. Thank you for that amazing introduction, Kelly. Thank you.
Yeah.
And
And
I'm
is it Bella Lee? I probably said it wrong, didn't I?
It's Belle-Lyssa, but you're not alone.
Bellissa. Okay.
Belle-Lyssa. Yes, I
Bellissa.
actually had an uncle that said it incorrectly until he passed.
Oh, right. Like,
Thank
come
you.
on.
And I,
Yes.
I first of all want to say I'm just so excited and grateful to be on the show. And with everything going on in the world, I reached out to you on social media, not randomly, but intentionally, wanting to connect with people that I had this vibration with, a connection. And I saw so much resonance in what you were doing with suicide prevention and mental health matters and all of those things. And I thought, I've got to get to know you. And so I was so blessed and grateful for that first conversation that we had. And here we are. And I, I'd add to one of the things that we connect on. I struggle personally with anxiety and depression. And that's why I do what I do. I used to wake up with 10,000 thoughts in my mind a day. And I looked amazing. You could never tell. I literally would go into work, first job out of college, and I would have been bawling my eyes out in my hour and a half car drive. And somehow, before the invention of waterproof mascara, I think, at least to my cosmetic routine, I walked into work and no one knew. No one knew. And I think so many times we don't know what's going on in someone's mind. And you and I share that. Something that wasn't in my resume and isn't on my website, that nearly 17 years ago, my brother committed suicide. And I know that you had a suicide, your sister, and that inspired you to do the work that you do. And I was already doing the work that I do. And I was adopted. So he's my biological brother. We didn't grow up together, but there was some powerful connection energetically. I just felt his presence just before he was making the decision to pass, and had a dream about it. We hadn't talked in quite a while. And he popped into my head and said, help take care of my kids. And his kids were 11 and 13, and I hardly knew them. And I wondered what that was about. And 2 days later, I learned that he had taken his life. And he was a decorated police officer. He was a crime scene investigator, a jokester. Everybody saw him with a smile on his face, and he had some heavy burdens, financially and otherwise. He was going through a divorce. He was raising 2 kids and all kinds of stressors going on. But he never let on until that morning that he sent a text out to his coworkers, fellow police officers, and said, "Don't come into work today." And I share that with you because mental health matters so much. It's why I do what I do. Now, not everyone is walking around with suicidal ideations, but you know what? It's a lot more common than you realize. And you and I talked about that. And what goes on inside our minds is critical as to how we're feeling. And if I can help teach people how to regulate themselves so they can choose their thoughts, have control over their mind, so they don't get to that breaking point, they don't feel like they're alone. And so what you're doing is changing the world. And we're on the same page with that because I want to help change the world one thought at a time. And through my work, I've realized that a lot of anxiety and overthinking is a nervous system problem. And so the reason that I nerded out and went into neuroscience is because I wanted to learn, how can we regulate our nervous systems? Some of us have never been taught. Some of us have never been taught emotional regulation. What do we do with our feelings? And we get overwhelmed by them. That's why I had 10,000 thoughts at once and could not even make a decision of what to wear, let alone get out of the house. And yet I was managing so many things. And when I did get out of the house, nobody had a clue what was going on inside my head. I had a war inside my head that no one could see. And how many of your listeners do you think that are tuning in today or to other episodes struggle with some of those same things?
Yeah, well, thank you. I mean, first and foremost, of just sharing all of that because it is, and I'm sure the listeners now are like, oh, I know why you brought her on. um, One, I love the brain. I love understanding about the brain as we talked. And then also, I mean, just the connection of understanding of losing somebody to suicide. And I often joke it's part of the club that nobody wants to be a part of. But unfortunately, we are. And yeah, I feel like so often in society today, we're just putting on this mask, and I think that even commercials today show that as with the I can't think what commercial it is exactly, but it's for an antidepressant where they have the smiley face, and they're holding it up, but behind the scenes they're not feeling the greatest. And so I love the fact that you help people regulate their nervous system because we don't think about that, or I never did until I learned and started jumping into the NLP world. Is I was like, my nervous system? What do you mean? How do I, what are you talking about? Right? But the cool part is that we do have choice and we have the ability within ourselves to regulate that. So I love all of what you shared, and thank you so much for going on that personal level because really this show is all about those deep and those honest, transparent conversations that nobody else wants to have, but they're really, really important to have. And the fact that you've taken all of this and you were doing the work prior to your brother passing, but you continue to do the work, and I'm sure it just like leveled up significantly even after that. So thank you for what you do. And I'm so excited. I am one of those people that I do get a lot of messages on LinkedIn and on Facebook, and sometimes I'm really bad at responding. But for whatever reason, when you popped in, I was like, there's something, a connection, right? Like I did feel that, and I was like, well, I need to respond, and not just in the manner of like, okay, not talking to you manner, right? It was like, okay, let's have a conversation and be open and sometimes I do and don't respond. And so I love that we had a chance. And I know you and I had a long conversation before coming on here, but I'm just glad that you are here today. So thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thank you. I want to definitely offer strategies. And before I do that, and I know we have a little break coming up, but before I do that, first of all, I want to say that you're not broken if you're overthinking. You're not broken if you have anxiety and depression. Our brains are actually wired for survival, not to thrive, not to do what you and I are doing right now. They're not wired that way. They're wired for survival, so that fight or flight response. And one of the things that I teach people to do right off the bat is to teach them how to respond instead of react. And one of the beautiful things about that is that when you're able to respond instead of react, it does amazing things. Besides, it helps you feel better. It increases your immunity. I haven't been sick. I haven't had the cold or flu in over 10 years. And I know that all the research that I've done on myself and all the work that I've done with other people and the research and tracking and the evidence that's out there, the scientific research, is that stress causes our body to break down and have disease. And why is that? It takes 90 seconds for an emotion to pass through us. If we stuff it, if we push it, if we don't acknowledge it, if we don't feel it, and we allow it to kind of fester inside of us, it's causing a negative neural pathway, and it's creating chemicals to be released into our body, neurochemicals and hormones. And why is this important? We hear about those things when people have accidents and, maybe they're in a car accident or something traumatic happens. But you know what? Those things happen throughout the day. When we get a text, we don't know what to do with it, and it hits us and it triggers us. Or we're having a casual conversation, or maybe we're walking outside and something startles us. We have that, we're on edge. I don't know if any of you can relate to that, but we're constantly feeling that angst and that anxiety. And so what being able to learn how to respond instead of react does, it helps you to move in another part of your brain. So you can be discerning, you can make better decisions, you can connect with your intuition, which is what you and I did. We said, I got to talk to this person, I have to meet this person. You took action on it. It helps you be more resourceful and creative and navigate challenges and know that you're going to bounce back. And it gives you hope. And those are just a few of the many benefits that you get from being able to do that. And I call it the vibration also. It helps you vibrate at a higher level and connect with what we're truly meant to be doing. We're not meant to be suffering. We're not meant to be a prisoner in our minds and overthink our life away.
Yeah, I love, okay, so a couple pieces that I love that I want to pull out. Because I have had some past I have had some guests in the past that we have talked about energy and vibration, but you explained it very well, and giving even those real life experiences, which I think is really going to translate, especially to the audience. So thank you for putting that in more of a real world case of not just like, hey, it's all about energy and it's all about vibration and all, right? Which I think is amazing. And I'm totally into the holistic space, but I love that you were able to specifically name certain things that happen to us on a daily basis. So thank you. Yes, we do have to go to our quick first sponsored break, but when we get back, I would love to have just more information because over here, I'm just like nerding out on the brain and I love it. So we'll be right back after this quick sponsored break.
Sounds great.
Have you ever felt completely alone?
Like your life doesn't matter.
One person dies due to suicide every 40 seconds.
You are not alone. Call the National Suicide Lifeline at 988.
Hope and recovery is possible.
1 in 8 people globally live with a mental disorder.
That's why empowering minds saves lives.
We need your help.
With only $19 a month, you help us save lives through mental health and suicide prevention education.
Scan the QR code or go to makementalhealthmatter.org to sign up as a warrior for mental health today.
Hi everyone, I am Sinead from Bredor. I'm from Johannesburg, South Africa. Please join me in my Power Hour every Sunday, 12 o'clock Pacific Standard Time on E360 TV. Mwah!
And like that, we're back. Oh, it's gonna be silly today. Okay, let me get this to work properly. Technology. If you had to be just joining the Make Mental Health Matters show, thank you so much for tuning in, whether you are watching or listening. And my guest and I today really talking more specifically about her story, the loss of her brother, but also the work that Bella does is really a lot with your brain and the neuroscience behind why we are really living in this fight or flight space. Well, that's really what our brains are designed for, is to protect us, but also why we go into the fight or flight verse. We have the other choice to regulate our nervous system. And so fascinating that you have not been sick for 10 years. Also, because stress, like you said, stress is a key component with all the things because it dumps all that cortisol into your bloodstream and, physically, mentally, emotionally, all the things. So I'm so glad that you were able to clarify that. And then also going into real world experiences of, hey, there's things that happen to us on a daily basis. You could get in a car accident. You could have a message pop up on your phone. And there's so many, right? Like even today, because we have so much stimulant surrounding us, that our brains are not focusing as much as they used to. And so really understanding how we can, excuse me, how we can regulate our body. And I know for me, so I have within my body, I imagine that I have little minions inside my body and they're like running up and down my body and they're like cleaning up everything when I start getting sick. And I always try to tell myself, I'm like, healthy, 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 healthy. And then I'm like, okay, let the minions go in and clean up everything. And then I'm like, release the Kraken. And the Kraken goes in and like cleans in all the parts that the minions can't get to. That's my visualization. I think it's fun. It's also a way for me to shift into that healthy mindset versus the negative of like, I'm sick, right? Like the sick, when I say I'm sick, you can draw in that negative energy. So I always try to draw in the healthy energy. So that's just a little sidebar of the healthy conversation. I still have been sick in the past, but I'm going to let you take it from here because you said you have some more amazing tools to give the audience.
I love your visualization and your imagery. I love that. I love it. I do guided meditations with myself every day, and I do them with my clients, and I record them for them so that they can have them specifically. And I really encourage people who really want to learn to stay to the end because I'm going to give some really great tools and how people can connect with me. And I'm going to give away a lot of free things that I give a lot of people that connect with me because I really feel like it makes the world a better place. And I want to share a couple of things about what you said about our thoughts and what we say to ourselves. And I want to share a little story before I do that, and also share that I'm also a board certified health and wellness coach and a functional medicine coach. I've been studying functional medicine my whole entire life. And I got started with it because, and this is going to tie into how I became a mental fitness strategist. How did I get into this? When I was much younger, we'll leave it at that, my adoptive mom was diagnosed with 4th-stage ovarian cancer. And I was an only child. Even though I had a brother, it was from my biological family. We met later in my life. And she was given 3.5 weeks to live. And she watched her own mother die of the same kind of ovarian cancer that she had. And at first she said, I don't want to make you and your dad suffer with what I went through. I'm ready to go. And I said, Mom, I'm not ready. And I bought out the health food stores and I did everything that I could. I met with her oncologist. She had a complementary medicine oncologist who told me all these supplements and all these different things that she could eat. And she all of a sudden, after 48 hours, ripped the feeding tube out of her stomach. And it was about 3:45 in the morning, and her surgeon had to come and said, why'd you do that? She said, I decided I wanted to live. And that is so powerful because so many people are fighting. They're fighting. And what she taught me was she visualized how she wanted to be. And when she started chemo, which she did for 3.5 years, she did portacath, she did it through a catheter, and she did supplements. She visualized the chemo coming into her body like rays of sunshine, only killing the bad cells, not the good. She hardly got any side effects. She lived. She lived another 34 years. And it inspired me to go into coaching because I realized after studying with Bob Proctor, I was one of his mentors. If some of you are familiar with What the Bleep and The Secret and those kind of things, and Joe Dispenza, those are my mentors, and they really help shape who I am. Jay Shetty, Mind Valley, all of those places and people. And I realized what we think about expands. We become what we think about. Our thoughts affect how we feel. Change our thoughts, change how we feel. And then I just also discovered that negative thoughts have been scientifically proven to have a negative pH, an acidic pH. That's science, a negative thought. Meaning somebody that's flipping you out in the parking lot, they're creating negative pH environment in their body. And if you're reacting to that and you're responding to that, or you're watching the news and feeling it, or even the Weather Channel, the gloom and doom and all of that, you're feeling that. You're feeding negative molecules in your body. You're expanding them. Same is true if you think more positively. It has a more positive alkaline pH. As an example, when I talked about disease, and we talked about that a few minutes ago, cancer cannot live in an alkaline environment. So it's so crucial, and we're all wanting to prevent all kinds of diseases and live our best life. And the biggest disease is in our mind. The biggest thing for us to overcome is our mindset, and to be able to get our mindset in alignment with what we want to have happen in our life. And so if we realize that there's scientific proof, I'm not going to drink acid. Why would I think negative thoughts? So that can really help people thinking about that. So taking responsibility of your thoughts, and the first step to the process is to identify, what are you really thinking about? You just said something. Instead of saying you are sick, I am sick, you say that the minions are going to work and helping me heal myself, right? I tell myself I have a kick-ass immune system. I know, but it works for me. And I really do believe that. And I'm very in tune. So I scan myself continuously throughout the day. If I'm around someone else, I'm very empathic, so I pick up energy. And so I'm scanning, how am I feeling before each of my sessions, before I go out into the world, before I have a conversation. I want to be grounded and centered and clear. I want to vibrate at the highest level so that I can be discerning in that conversation. So I can hear how I'm receiving that energy, and also how am I responding to it? What am I saying to myself? I am healthy. I am confident. All those things, they're not magic words. And people get caught up in thinking, well, I don't know how to be positive. I have to be positive all the time to be resilient. Not true. Someone once told me, and if he ever listens to this podcast, maybe he'll comment. He said, I think you fart rainbows. And he was serious. And I did a little reel about it on TikTok, and it was hilarious. And he really thought that. No, it isn't about that. It's about resiliency. Is about how quickly you bounce back, how quickly you look for the gift and the opportunity in whatever happens to you. How quickly do you move to gratitude? How quickly do you say, I got this? That's what resiliency is about. And so if you're struggling with your belief systems and you don't believe they're healthy, maybe you're dealing with mental challenges, maybe you're dealing with health challenges and death and dying and other things and grieving, you can say, I'm working through this, because that's a true statement. I'm becoming a better version of myself. I'm handling stress differently. I'm handling it better. I'm bouncing back quicker. I'm more aware of those things. So being aware of what we're saying first, and then looking at how do we want to rewrite the story in real time. And you and I have talked a little bit about that, but I want to share that so you might be telling yourself a story about what happened. And maybe something unfair happened. Maybe it was really stressful. I mean, just look at the news of what happened last week. No politics. There's just a lot of energy going on. And a lot of it's not good. Love, kindness, compassion, that's what I stand for. I will forever be that woman championing that. And I share that because we can tell a story about something and relive the drama. We don't even have to be experiencing it. We don't have to have been there. We can watch it on the news and feel it. We can watch a movie and feel it. We can tell ourselves, what kind of commercials are you running inside your head, and take responsibility of those commercials and the energy that you're putting into it. And I think if you're listening, you know what I'm talking about. You're injuring yourself by telling a story where you might be the victim, by telling the story as if you're re-experiencing the trauma. So how can you center yourself? And I'm going to give people some practical strategies on how you do that. But how do you ground yourself so that you are not reacting? You are responding. So then you can use discernment. You can say, oh, that story doesn't serve what I really want in my future. That story doesn't serve how I want to feel. I'm feeling icky. I'm not feeling good. So what can you do? Here's a great prescription. I'm going to give you some what I call mental fitness strategies. First thing that and these just take 2 minutes. And this is also what I call meditation your way. How many of you out there have struggled with meditation? I know I did. I almost got kicked out of kindergarten when everybody was supposed to be napping, and it was kind of like the quiet meditation time, and I was doing cartwheels. Like, I had a lot of energy and a lot of things to do. And still in my adulthood, I now can meditate for an hour or more, but what I will tell you is it's been scientifically proven that just 2 minutes a day for as little as 6 weeks throughout the day, and I'm going to tell you exactly how to do that, has been proven to be just as effective as if you were a monk meditating for hours on end on an fMRI, which is a special magnetic resonating machine. So here's the trick. Here's the secret. And it's not a secret because I'm sharing it. But here's the easy thing. It's these tiny little habits. So taking time out before you even get out of bed, when you first wake up, that twilight time, you're still in that relaxed theta wave brain state. Before you start to kick in and think about the residue of the day before and all the things you have to do, set the tone, clear your mind. Do something to ground yourself. Use one of your senses. You may be somebody who really likes tactile. You like to touch things. Or you like to hear. Maybe you're very sensitive to hearing. Or you like to smell things. I have these little essential oils right by my desk that I will smell. And maybe you like to look at things. And here's the thing. Doing it just for 2 minutes. Just 2 minutes. Feeling something soft. It could be your covers. Feeling your fingertips and the ridges on your fingertips for just 2 minutes. One of those senses. Not trying to examine it or think about it, but just feeling the sensation of that pressure of your fingertip, all the ridges. Or looking at something in the distance. Maybe you're looking at a picture on the wall. You could be petting your dog or your cat. You could even be breathing. One of my favorites is I like to listen to the furthest sound in the distance. Do it with me now just for 15 seconds. Just listen to something that you hear in the distance. I'm hearing a fan. I didn't hear it before when I was talking or listening to you. And just tune into that just for a minute. Just listen to the sound. Is it muffled? Is it loud? It could be a bird. It could be anything. It could be your dog snoring, which sometimes it is mine. And And then listen to the closest sound that you can hear. Could be the sound of my voice. Could be the sound of your breath. And just put your fingers underneath your nose and you can hear the sound of your breath a little bit better. Just doing that for a couple of minutes. And if a thought comes into your head, just acknowledge it and say, I can come back to it. That will set the tone for your day. Allow you to clear your day. And the other thing is to do it mid-morning, 2 minutes. It could be if you take a coffee break or you take a walk or you go to the restroom, wash your hands for 2 minutes. 2 minutes of doing one of those mindfulness practices. And if anyone wants the prescription, I'm happy to send it to you. I'm happy to give you a morning guided meditation that's just 3 minutes and it's amazing for setting your intentions. I'm happy to do that and I'll give you ways to reach me at the end of the podcast. And doing that mid-afternoon as well. Finding a time that you can tag it along with your day. Just 2 minutes. Looking at something. So I have this mug here and I've had this mug for 35 years. It has a beautiful butterfly on it. Just observing that mug and it's kind of etched in there and I'm just feeling in it. And for the first time I'm noticing that the colors in it inside these wings are a little different shades of tan. And there's a little green in there. And I'm just noticing all the purple and the green and the colors and the temperature. And I'm just noticing the liquid inside so I don't spill it. And I'm just noticing how it fits so comfortably in my hand and it's smooth and then there's a little bit of an indentation. And just doing that for 2 minutes. That will make such a huge difference. Why 2 minutes? Why the repetitions? Because just like going to the gym, we'll do something to maybe improve our bicep. And how many of you have done this? I know I've done it. All right, maybe I'll go to the gym for 3 days and I'll work this out and I'll look, is my bicep there? Is it there? Wait, it's not there. It's not there yet. What do you mean it's not there yet? Right? How many people have done that or try to get a flat stomach or whatever it is and you look in the mirror like 2 or 3 days and you're expecting results? The reason this works is because it's these little mini mental fitness exercises throughout your day. And there's a couple more times that are really important. Doing this for 6 weeks, even if you don't get it 100%, so what? You're moving in the right direction. And doing it just around mealtime, at dinner time, and then doing it before you go to bed. The one before the bed, before you go to sleep, is so important because you're tapping into this amazing superpower called the subconscious. Our subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between what's real or imagined. Take advantage of that. It doesn't know the difference between real or imagined. So I have a kick-ass immune system. I am abundant. I am healthy. I'm confident. I take action. I attract the most amazing opportunities. I meet the most amazing high vibrational people. Random acts of kindness happen to me continuously. Unexpected miracles happen, and there are little miracles like you and I meeting people, putting that energy out, vibrating at that higher level. We feel it. We know what it feels like. How do you embody it? How do you do it? You do it by learning how to move into that other part of your brain that responds instead of reacts. And if you don't believe me, be around somebody who's angry. Be around somebody who's feeling negative emotion. You can feel it, or somebody who's grieving. No judgment, but it's a heavier emotion. Guilt, doubt, fear, worry, shame, all those things. How do you shift those vibrations? Being able to train your brain, calm your nervous system down to be able to set in a new neural pathway. Now, when else is it really important to do these things? I'm going to give you another tip. When you are, and the term spiral has been used so often, but I think we all know what it means, or looping. How many of us, I like to tie it into overthinking, but how many of us think about what we're going to send as a text response, an email response, or how we're going to have that difficult conversation, or how we're going to take action on doing something on a pile of things that we have to get done, or whatever it is. Maybe it's bills that we have to pay, whatever it is. We're putting it off. We're putting all the energy that we have into not doing the thing. We're putting all the energy that we have into not doing the thing. So pausing for just even 45 seconds to a minute and doing one of these mental fitness exercises, it could even be just doing some simple box breathing where you breathe in for 4 seconds, hold it for 4, and breathe out for 4 seconds. That resets your nervous system as well. So being able to do that can be incredibly helpful.
I love all those, and my microphone's going bonkers right now. Sorry.
I thought it was a waterfall.
You're like,
To go with
yes.
your background.
I'm adding some noises in here. Those, I mean, super simple, right? Super simple tools that you can utilize at any point in time, and people don't even need to know that you're doing, like small. I do the like rubbing my fingers together. I actually took a training. It was called Positive Intelligence, and they do reps. So, or mental reps, and that was one of them, was the touching of your fingers and rubbing your fingers together, but intentionally feeling all of the ridges like you were talking about, right? It's not just like rubbing your hands together as a way of coping, but like intentionally focusing your attention into all the things that you're saying. So I love that. We're gonna go to our last quick sponsored break, but once we get back, more tools. So we'll be right back after this.
Sounds good.
1,917 people die daily from suicide globally.
I lost my middle sister, Carrie, to a completed suicide on February 20th, 2017.
How does Kelli, host of the Make Mental Health Matter show, impact lives?
Number 1. Awareness.
My story, Oliver, it isn't unique. I am a domestic violence survivor and a recovering addict. For 14 years, I was in active addiction. And because of Kelli and the work that she does and the opportunity to have my voice heard, I was able to stay clean and sober and have hit a year. I'm still here. And if it wasn't for Kelli answering my call the day that I thought I was going to take my life.
2. Conversation.
I'm curious, and I know that I've heard a lot in the BIPOC community, it is very hush-hush. It's like one of those things that you don't talk about. Like, you literally feel like it's not a conversation you can have. So can you talk a little bit more about that?
First, shout out to Kelli, because I'm glad that she asked the question. I researched you before I went on your show, and I saw how real and authentic you were. And I just appreciate the question, because it is different and we have to have tough, courageous conversations. So yes, I always say I'm a triple diversity threat. I'm a Black woman with multiple disabilities. Now, I'm not really a threat, but to other people, I may be, because people fear the unknown and what they're uncomfortable with.
Number 3. Education.
Kelli's passionate commitment to mental health awareness is a beautiful thing. It's clear in her social media posts, it's clear in the resources that she puts together, in the activities that she provides, her collaboration with organizations, and the consistent way that she continues to deliver a message, encouraging people to understand that they can share openly and to break the stigma around mental health. Kelli's topics cover children and adults, talk about things that we can do as a community, things that we can do individually, and her website is packed with information and resources and all kinds of contacts that you can use to reach out, whether you're dealing with something yourself or you're looking to help somebody else who is struggling. I encourage you to check it out.
And like that, we're back again. If you happen to be just tuning in to the Make Mental Health Matter show, make sure you go back to the very beginning of this, because we have had such great conversations. And Bella, I keep trying to add an A into your name. I'm like, I'm going to get it eventually. But Belle-Lyssa. Did I say it right?
Belle-Lyssa.
Belle-Lyssa.
Like Melissa, but Belle-Lyssa.
Belle-Lyssa. Okay.
Belle-Lyssa. It wouldn't let me add the A at the end.
Oh, okay. I was like, it missed the A at the end. Gotcha. Okay. Interesting. Okay. Well, if you, again, just tuning in, make sure you go back. But really talking about the brain and how, whether it is negative thoughts or positive thoughts, we have a choice around how that affects our energy. And those of us that are empaths, as they say, we can tend to feel the energy of people around us. I know, especially for myself, when I was working in a corporate position in sales, there was a lot of negative energy, and it actually was really, really hard on me. And I didn't really fully understand that part of me yet. And I always try to be much more in the positive space, which is so fascinating that I chose a mental health and suicide awareness nonprofit, because not that everybody is in that negative energy by any means, but a lot of the population that we serve specifically is more in, I guess, that negative. A lot of things are happening, right, in their life. But that's why I love also the show and being able to bring on guests like yourself that are able to give easy, tangible tools on a daily that we can utilize on a daily basis. I love that you mentioned that you literally only need like a minute or 2 minutes and you can space it out throughout your day. So starting your day and before you get out of bed, and then also midday, and then that evening right before you go to bed, which ultimately is going to help us settle our mind and really start sleeping really good sleep. So I am curious, are there any other tools that you want to offer as related to all of this that we've talked about?
Yeah, lots of them. And I want to just respond to what you said about 'cause sometimes the work we do can be kind of heavy. And that's why I think it's really important that we all learn how to, I think the term ground is used a lot, but to clear, to kind of be centered so that we can discern and we can show up consciously. And when I say show up consciously, I mean fully awake to what someone's saying. And that's a lot of what we do. We're really hearing. We're not taking on the energy. The more centered you can be, the less you're going to feel and take on that energy, the heaviness of it, right? And we can be more present because we're not reacting to it. We're not saying, oh my gosh, that person just lost their son. I mean, and I won't even go into some of the other things because we want to keep this, in light, but people just sharing their trauma and people just sharing their stories and the pain that they're going through. And they're reliving that trauma sometimes just when they're sharing it because they haven't learned to regulate. They haven't learned to heal. And people heal when they have safety, emotional safety. And to being able to not just you and I create emotional safety for people, but to teach people how to create that for themselves. So the other things that I use is I love using music frequencies. I've been doing it for over 20 years. I've been doing this work for 25 years. Oh, more than that, my whole entire life, but the neuroscience weaved in there. And using music frequencies. And if anyone is interested in that, I can send you some specific ones because there are lots of specific ones, but you can look them up too on YouTube. And what they're designed to do, they're also known as binaural beats. You listen to the certain type of frequency that helps to balance your right and left hemisphere of your brain. So you listen to them with earbuds or headphones. And they're designed for specific intention to help with focus, to help with relaxation, to help with healing, to help with pain. And what it does is it bypasses your conscious mind. So it gets down in there and you can get out of the way with that because that can really help you when you're starting out these practices. I also studied with Charmaine, Daily Positive Habits. I did that many years ago and he's just a gift to the world. I mean, he's on a mission to change the world. And so I add in these things as well. And then also being really mindful of what kind of blocks you may have with what you're saying to yourself. Do you have that kind of attitude that there's no one else like me? No one else can possibly have what's going on in their mind like I do. I know I used to feel that way. I know growing up, I used to feel that. And I used to think, gosh, how can anybody help me if they don't know what I'm thinking and feeling? And so being able to bring hope into it and being able to settle your nervous system so you can tell a different story. We all have different ways to get to ourselves. Let me say that again. We all have different ways to get to ourselves. And I think that what I'm teaching is really about giving you a set of instructions and tools so that you can customize them to work for yourself. And I use a lot of personality assessments because the Enneagram assessment is one of the ones that I specialize in, and also a strength-based survey as well that identifies what your strengths are, what you're bringing, because we all are a little different. We all have different ways in which we show up in the world and we show up to conversations. Some of us are a little oversensitive. Some of us are a little more logical. Some of us are a little more empathetic. Some of us are a little bit more justice oriented. And so we have a different lens. But when we learn to be more objective, and I love this frame of thinking about what I do as a coach and teaching people how to have a 360-degree view of yourself. How to be an objective observer, because when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. When you can get alongside of someone and have a different view of how they might be coming across, that they're not attacking you, that they're just feeling very passionate about something. Maybe they're triggered. And to be able to not take things personally, and that is another big piece. So if you're someone who might take something personally or might be oversensitive or might be looping around those conversations, making it a gentle rule with compassion, say, hey, I don't want to take that personally. I don't want to take on that energy because I don't really know what story that person's telling about me. I don't really know. So let me give myself grace and compassion and stepping away from that and just taking a deep breath. And here's another one that is very powerful. Navy SEALs do this. And this is if you're in the middle of a conversation or you get triggered somewhere. And be careful not to use your middle finger because I don't want you to think that you're using your middle finger. But here's a very, very interesting and very helpful and quick technique that Navy SEALs use to help them be able to make a quick decision in a moment's notice. And what they do is they put their finger and close off your right nostril and just breathe in with your left nostril. That will reset your nervous system. And if you're in the middle of a conversation and you're feeling really reaction, like you reacted, and this can really stop a lot of situations that are escalating, especially in an argument. I deal with this a lot. I do some relationship coaching as well and teaching couples how to pause. And so this is an amazing, gentle pause. And remember, don't do it like with this finger. You want to do it with this finger. I always like to keep a little sense of humor, but doing that. And so here's another way to do it. Breathe in quickly a couple of times, and that helps reset it even quicker. And you can feel the difference the next time you get triggered, or maybe something happens, or maybe someone pulls out in front of you. Being able to contain your energy and harness the energy that you have for your good, for your highest and best self. And that's another thing that I like to encourage people to really consider. Are you someone that is telling the story about what happened to you? Or are you telling your story about what's going on now? Are you in the present? And what's the story that you're telling about your future? I have one more strategy that can really help you move into that higher level vibration. We all talk about gratitude, but I'm going to talk about gratitude and I'm going to level it up times 3 or even 10x it. And gratitude is one of those things that we do, and we can raise our vibration to the highest level vibration so that we are warding off the stress. We are staying positive. We are moving into that higher place in our brain where we can navigate challenges and be more resilient, creative, and resourceful. And so why gratitude is so important? Because it's focusing on the things that have already happened that have worked. And so thinking about all the little things that we're grateful for. I'm grateful for my mouse, that it works. I'm grateful for the mouse pad. I'm grateful for this connection. I'm grateful for social media. I'm grateful for all the opportunities. I'm grateful for these amazing socks that I have on my feet and all the things. And then I'm grateful for even people that have come into my life. A lot of my gratitude, it's about people and connections and what they bring and the energy. And I'm grateful for having a beautiful home to live in and the air that I breathe and this beautiful day. And, and I'm moving closer. The more days that go by, I'm realizing that's less days I have on the planet. The more days that go by, that's less days I have on the planet. When we talk about the suicide rate, there's someone that didn't wake up. During the course of our conversation, someone took their life. And so being grateful that I have the mindset to share with others and to help thousands of people around the world and more, to be able to help them have a different mindset, to have hope. That hope is something you never want to run out of. And then how do we level up? So there's two other ways to do gratitude that I think really will help. And I think sometimes it gets missed. The energy of it. Instead of just writing out or thinking about the things, and starting your day with gratitude can really help you expand. It really is an amazing thing. And putting the energy into it. I am so incredibly grateful for my dog. And I'm so grateful that when my other dog was passing, I really wanted to get her a friend because I knew I couldn't survive only just having one. And so I got another dog and I put the intention out. And I thought, how in the world am I going to find the dog? Because I had my other dog for 18 years. How? How am I going to do that? You can't replace your best friend. Well, a friend of mine showed up and she said, here's a Facebook ad. There's a dog in a shelter in Brunswick County. And I'm pretty far from there. But I messaged and I was one of the first people there, but I wasn't the first. And there were other people there. And I didn't win the lottery on the dog. They had a lottery. I didn't get it, but I stayed because it was the right time. And I ended up with the amazing dog that I was supposed to get. And so I'm grateful to my friend. And I think about those things because it brings me energy. And it really is the vibration. And then I'm going to go another step further. So do that for a few minutes. And this doesn't have to take long. But if you're really in a funk, if you're really looking for something to really shift your energy and you're feeling low, or you really have some big goal that you really want to accomplish, do this every day. Do it as often as you can. But here's the other thing. I am so grateful that I've reached 1 million followers. I am so incredibly grateful to all the lives that I've touched. I'm so incredibly grateful for Stop Overthinking Your Life is a bestseller on Amazon. And it's translated into 15 different languages all around the world. I'm so grateful that my Stop Overthinking Your Life Away video program is selling like hotcakes on Amazon every day, selling programs, and I'm helping people and all of the lives that are changing and transforming because they're doing these tiny little habits and they have hope. I'm grateful for all these things in the future. I'm grateful for my future life partner. I'm grateful for all of these things. I'm grateful for my incredible health. I'm grateful that I'm aging backwards. All the things that maybe they haven't happened yet, but I'm acting as if they have. Because I believe that, because I am programming my subconscious mind, because I know that my subconscious mind scientifically has been proven to not know the difference between what's real or imagined. So doing gratitude in those ways, and even doing it with a friend, have a gratitude challenge. I started one on my social media. And I don't know how much time we have left, but I wanted to give people an opportunity, if they're interested in connecting with me. My website is IntentionAbility.com. Intention and then ability. There you go. And I have all kinds of things on there, and that's a great way to connect with me. And you can also schedule an appointment for a free consult if you'd like to talk more and talk through something that you want some clarity around. You're feeling unstuck and want some more strategies. And you can also find me on social media. Belle-Lyssa, Belle capital Lyssa. And my last name's Crawford, but I'm the only Belle-Lyssa in the world. On Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram.
Amazing. Well, yeah, we are coming to the end really, really quickly. So, for those of you that are listening, it is intentionability. So IntentionAbility dreamvision7radio.com. It will also be in the show notes, so you can always go to YouTube, or if you're listening on Dream Vision 7 Radio, you can go into the show notes there also. This was amazing. Thank you so much. And all the ways to connect will be in there too. So thank you so much for giving, again, simple, easy tools that we can use on a daily basis. And I'm just grateful that we had this time to spend together. So thank you so much for being an amazing guest.
Thank you, Kelly, for being an incredible host and the energy that you bring to this podcast and to the world and the lives that you've changed. And I loved watching the commercials in between. And that was just a beautiful way to get to know you even more.
Thank you. All right, y'all, that was an amazing another episode. I know I'm wrapping it up because we have to wrap it up. So thank you for tuning in. Again, go check out all the show notes if you want to connect. No matter what you do, make sure you come back every single Monday. I go live at 9 a.m. on E360 TV, 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. on Dream Vision 7 Radio, and 9 p.m. on E360 TV Mountain Denver time. I will see you next week. Bye, y'all.